Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Real Talk with Ryan. I just got out of the theater from seeing the new horror film, The Ritual, which is directed by David Midell, and I've never seen any of his previous works. It stars Al Pacino, Dan Stevens, Ashley Greene, and Abigail Cowen. I did see before this movie that the Rotten Tomatoes score is 0%, which doesn't really shock me because exorcism films, they always get very negative reviews. But when I saw that score, I was like, how bad could this film actually be? And I was like, let's go ahead and give this film a shot. Now, after watching this film from a positive standpoint, I like the fact that this is shot in a documentary style. Think The Office, if you ever watched that before. It's in that kind of style. A lot of the shots in this film are mainly in a church because the plot of this film is pretty basic. Basically, Al Pacino and Dan Stevens, they are both fathers who are performing an exorcism on this girl named Emma, played by Abigail Cowen. And that's really the basis of the plot of this movie. There really isn't anything else really going on in this movie but that whole situation. And from a positive standpoint, I would say that I did like the fact that they did go in a little bit of backstory with Dan Stevens and his character and a little bit of backstory with Al Pacino, but there really isn't a lot of characterization, even though there is a little bit of moments where we get a little bit of clarity of Dan Stevens' situation and what happened with his brother. I also like the fact that Ashley Greene was in this, though I feel like after her career in Twilight, she really hasn't been in a lot of films, and a lot of stuff that she's in is usually crap, to be honest. She doesn't have much characterization in this film. She does play a sister, but she doesn't have like a lot of lines in here. What she was given, I mean, she was fine, but not really a whole lot given. Outside of that, there are a few moments in here where I was like, okay, those scenes are pretty effective. I think some of the makeup isn't too bad in the film. But when it comes to positives, that's really all I can say that I liked about this film. This film is kind of boring, to be honest. I mean, it's an hour and a half runtime. It's a very slow film. I did not like the camera work at all in this film. There is way too much zooming in this film. Every single scene when you have characters having a conversation in dialogue, basically when they go from character to character, they are constantly zooming in and out. I mean, the cameraman, his one assignment must have been to just hit the zoom button for the camera, because the entirety of this film is just zooming into characters' faces, whether it's a document they're reading, whether it's a Bible, whatever it is, they are constantly hitting the zoom button in here and even zooming out at certain points as well. But I just, that drove me really nuts. It really took me out of the film. I felt like there are times in here where scenes should be ramped up a little bit. It should be a little bit more intense. I think if you've seen any exorcism film before, you see that a lot of times that there's a lot of tropes within them, and this one does have a lot of tropes. A lot of stuff that you've seen in this film, you've seen before. There's nothing really new that is really being brought to this film. There's nothing really original, I would say, being brought to this film. But there are moments in this film that I think are effective, that the director did a pretty good job on. There's a few things they did with like the lighting that I did like in certain portions of this film. But a lot of times in this film, when something is about to ramp up, they cut away and then they just have a random conversation with a bunch of different characters. But at the same time, we can't really buy into these characters because there's not much characterization within most of the characters. So because of that, you're asking your audience to really focus in on random characters that you didn't really build up in the first place. And then the whole exorcism portion, yes, there's certain points where you're like, okay, it's about to ramp up, and then it just doesn't and cuts away. And I think that really cuts away from like the intensity of the film and really ever being intense in the first place. But then within the last 15, 20 minutes, there are parts where it does start to ramp up a little bit. And you're like, okay, this isn't too bad. But for me, like even this being a 90-minute film, I just felt like it just wasn't there for me. I felt like there are other films that, in the exorcism genre that I don't mind. Obviously, The Exorcist, that's obviously the big one. The Pope's Exorcist, The Pray for the Devil. I remember people really didn't like that movie, but I actually didn't mind that. And I gave this film a fair shake. But to me, I just feel like it doesn't bring anything special to the genre. It doesn't do anything that you're like, oh man, like I've never seen that in an exorcism film before. And the fact that you can't really buy into the characters, not a lot of characterization, and the fact that they don't really do a whole lot different from anything you've ever seen before, it's like, how are we supposed to really be entertained by this? And I think that's like the biggest problem for me with this movie overall. So as far as the score for me, I would give it a 1.5 out of 5. It just wasn't there for me. My son saw it. What did you think?
It was pretty bad.
What did you give a score for it?
Probably 1.5 too.
yeah, it was really boring. There just wasn't really a whole lot going on, and he even turned to me and he was like, yeah, this is pretty boring. Like, there's not much really going on. I mean, yeah, there's a few moments, like I said, but like when it comes down to it, it's just not a good movie, and I just don't think you should waste your time. So overall, 1.5 out of 5 is both what we would give this film. I wouldn't see it, but if you are curious about it, maybe check it out when it comes to like VOD, or if you can rent it for cheap, or see it on like Tubi. I could see this movie going on like Tubi or something like that, because it kind of had that whole mentality with it. I mean, I'm happy for the director to finally get a film in the theaters, but this just wasn't it. It just, you know, people are going to see this maybe for the actors in it, but when it comes down to it, it's nothing special, and I honestly would skip it. So those are my thoughts on this film. What you guys think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? Thank you guys for watching as always, and I will see you guys later.